Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Whispers of the Sea podcast. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I certainly have had a wonderful day. It's currently the end of the day, Friday. I was supposed to record this podcast right after the first one, but I didn't end up doing that because I got extremely busy and it was late. So today's podcast is titled When Good Is Never Good Enough, and we're basically going to cover perfectionism, what that is. I have that, so we're going to talk. That's mainly why I'm talking about it, to express what perfectionism is, because like I said in the last episode, I don't know a lot of people that have perfectionism, at least people that have told me. So starting out with what is perfectionism, if you don't know what perfectionism is basically a personality trait where you want to do everything perfect, like on key, on beat, like top notch. It's just borderline perfect, which of course can never happen. That's the problem with perfectionism and why it's a big issue. It could be a really good blessing, but it's also a really big curse. So I wouldn't consider my case of perfectionism too bad, but it can get really bad on some occasions, especially if it's like a big event that I'm planning or it's something major in my life. And if I mess it up, there's no chance I will be able to redo it. So I spend a lot of time on that project, more than what normal people would do. And then I want to go quickly, before I go on to my main talking points for today, I'm going to split into two little subcategories of perfectionism, which is overthinking and the fear of failure. Kind of reminds me of I See a Dreamer by CG5, because I think it's called cacophobia. Of course, I have no idea how to pronounce that. But cacophobia basically means, well, more so the extreme fear of failure, but it's still fear of failure. So I kind of relate to that in a bit, though the lyric is, but I got no cacophobia, and I got a lot of cacophobia. Anyways, a little bit off topic, a little bit sidetracked, but since we're already on the topic of fear of failure, might as well continue on that. Oh my goodness. Fear of failure is going to be such a tongue. Can I say tongue twister? Okay, so we're trolling. I've already messed up like 10 sentences with the fear of failure. I'm just gonna have to take a long time to say it. Okay, so the fear of failure is basically you don't want to mess up, you don't want to make mistakes, which you should always make mistakes. It's the best way to learn. I know that. That's why I'm saying that, to convince myself that it is, even though in my mind I'm telling myself no, absolutely not. Mistakes are horrible. You should never do them. Don't make mistakes. Don't be out there. But that's the whole thing for content creation and stuff like that. You have to make mistakes to learn. So I'm trying to learn that as well. And then also fear of failure kind of ties in with overthinking, kind of overlaps. They're basically the same thing, in my opinion, but they are kind of distinct in their own unique way. So basically, continuing on, the fear of failure does definitely take a toll, especially if you're trying to aim for something perfect and you don't want to make mistakes. Because, of course, like I said earlier, making mistakes is part of your life. You have to learn from your mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, how are you ever going to learn? But continuing on to overthinking, I do that a lot. When I mean a lot, I mean a lot. If you send me a DM, for example, I may overthink of a response 10ish times. Thinking of the perfect response, even though it might not be the perfect response, and a day later I might want to change it. But overall, sometimes I don't put any thought into my responses, but at the same time, most of my important responses, or responses that are just starting out, or if I don't know you and I'm trying to think of a good response for a DM or whatever, I overthink a lot. Here, let's give an example, because that might sound really weird. Let's say, here, I could probably just pull up a message of what I overthink. Okay, here we go. I have a separate Discord server with all to see what text looks like when you send it, which is, now that I'm saying that, it kind of sounds really stupid. But yeah, that's kind of what I do. For announcements and responses, I have a lot. Some of them are announcements for PMCC. I hope you guys are having a good weekend. Below is the PMCC practice dates for September. So yeah, stuff like that I post in here so I don't accidentally like post it in the PMCC server and I'm trying to like edit something last minute and see what it actually looks like. And then there's like basic messages like howdy, low-key forgot today was Sunday. Like that's something I could have just sent, not something I could have overthought. Like I probably for this message, I probably could have said, hello, hi, how are you doing? Like stuff like that is like crazy to overthink. I could have sended one of my like silly dinosaur emotes, like stuff like that. That's what I overthink about a lot. Kind of getting into a perfectionist mind, but yeah, overthinking is a big part of my life. But that was just like DMs. Like I could go into stream titles, YouTube descriptions, and then also like general like VC talking. Like sometimes I overthink about that too instead of just saying what first comes to mind, which of course you should never say what first comes to mind. You should think about it a little bit before you say it. But like if you're in like a casual conversation, of course you have to like respond within a couple seconds, but at the same time, my mind flies by 5 different options. Like, what do you want to pick? Oh yeah, I want to pick option 3. And then 2 seconds later, no, pick option 1. Like, that's the perfectionist mind. So yeah, that's basically fear, failure, and overthinking. Moving on from those two like little side topics. Another thing is content creation that I tend to overthink about, especially since you could go down like a million different possibilities for editing a video, and that's what makes it like perfect. Like choosing the correct transition to choosing the correct font, like cutting the right portion of your video. Maybe you leave off the wrong second of time. Like there's so much little details that could go into a YouTube video to perfect it. If you look back to content creation now, I have only posted the surviving Minecraft on one chunk, and that video was like rushed in a week because I was attempting to get into the lifesteal SMP and they never did applications, so like it didn't really even matter. Lifesteal SMP. That's kind of crazy though to think that I wanted to get into Lifesteal SMP. I usually like to follow up on like Lifesteal SMP events on like the last month and attempt to get into the server. I think this year I actually tried. Last year I kind of wanted to, but I didn't make any moves. Now that I'm kind of looking back onto it, especially like right now at the point where I'm at, I really want to stick to smaller creator SMPs because yes, Lifesteal SMP, if you get in, you would have a lot of fame and you'll get a lot more subscribers and that's a lot more to deal with. But at the same time, you could do the same thing and grow your channel with smaller SMPs and stuff like that. Though I really wanted to do cinematic content, like movie trailer type content, kind of like movie/storytelling content, but I have no idea because I do not have the time anymore to do YouTube videos and actually perfect it to be movie level, so that's also another big problem. Anyways, going back to the one chunk video, looking back on it, I could have fixed like 1,000 different issues with that video. I could have re-recorded it, but I think what I've done with it and learning from my mistakes in that video is what truly matters, to be honest. Because you could like look back at any video on your YouTube channel, for example, and you could like rewatch it and you could look at different things that you want to change. That's like the mistakes you should learn to change for your next video. You can't change the past, unfortunately. I wish there was like a time machine to do so, but you can't. It's always good to make mistakes in your YouTube content. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to spend a lot of hours making a perfect Minecraft video. Be sure to like set limits for yourself. Like I basically rushed the one chunk Minecraft video in the week because I wanted to get into lifesteal. Set limits on yourself because you could easily overdo it or overdo something, especially if you have perfectionism like me. I think all YouTube content creators overdo YouTube videos because they want it to be perfect for their audience. That's me speaking as a content creator. I don't know if every YouTuber does that, but overall, I think most content creators desire for their audience to watch a enjoyable video. So going back to my main points, another thing about perfectionism is you don't know if you're perfect if you compare yourself to others, which I do a lot. I mean, not like crazily a lot. Like, I don't wish that I had a Lamborghini and a private jet and a mansion, even though, yeah, I want some things like that. That's on my wish list that I want from later in life, but that's not something I desire for right now. I mean, it's the thing about social media. People only post their perfect lives. So you're basically scrolling on their perfect life. So that kind of brings you down in some ways, but I don't tend to be on social media, so that kind of doesn't affect me at the moment. But if you do scroll on social media, so you're basically like viewing the famous person or whatever person's perfect lifestyle. I mean, there are some famous people and people like that do post the ups and downs, but for the most part, people post the best points of their lives, not the down points or I'm struggling with this. Typically, people don't post that because they want people to view them as this perfect life, and that kind of brings their audience kind of down because they want to be like that person. Like, they want to have a private jet, they want to have a mansion, and that's the sad reality that they'll never get that in their lifetime. Ooh, that's a good point. Perfectionism can disguise itself as motivation, but it often just drains joy. Dane. Like, that's crazy. Because I don't realize that. Perfectionism is just a part of my daily life. But sometimes if you rely too heavy on perfectionism, it definitely drains joy. It becomes demotivating. Even though it is motivation, it just isn't healthy to live directly on perfectionism because it's just draining, to be honest. And then moving on, I already talked a little bit about YouTube videos and how perfectionism can really affect that, and how you want to post a video and it's like in the editing phase and it's technically finished in your eyes, but at the same time, you could rewatch that video and think of 100 different things you could do different. That's why I said earlier it's good to set limits on yourself, because unless you could spend hours on end perfecting a YouTube video, and in the end, it will never truly be perfect. So, kind of going on that it's not ready yet mindset, like this video isn't ready yet, this YouTube short isn't ready yet, there's 10 different issues that I need to fix. Let those issues be, because overall it's going to affect A, your health, and B, it's going to be really draining because you're just fixing a bunch of issues, even though it's basically a perfect cinematic masterpiece. But there's a couple more issues that you think of that will basically perfect the video, even though, like I said earlier, it's never going to be perfect, if at all. And a pattern a lot of creators fall into is they get into the planning phase, they're planning out, they have this really cool video idea, they want to do it, and they overthink way too much about this video, perfecting it to the max, and then they burn out. That typically is what leads to burnouts. 10 times out of 10, you're not doing it for fun, you're just doing it to be the perfect masterpiece. So that could be really demotivating for creators, and then just repeating that can lead to a really big burnout in the end. So perfecting videos can be really challenging. I mean, yes, you should perfect your videos, but you shouldn't perfect it to the point where it's just you in the end perfecting a lot of small details your audience just may not ever notice, and it's just something you're proud of. I mean, yes, you should always be proud of your creation, but it's just little details like that. Yes, it could like make a huge difference in your video, but at the same time, it's just small little inconveniences that you should probably not spend too much time on, or it could really easily lead to a massive burnout in the end. Oh my goodness, this next point's going to be really good. So, the cost of never feeling truly enough is really hard. Perfectionism is hard in itself because it is really tolling, it's draining for your not only your health but your lifestyle in general. It could really easily, like I was saying earlier, it could easily lead to burnouts, frustration, and just your mind going into this continual loop or rabbit hole that if you probably just stopped at the first response, you probably would have been okay, but your mind just keeps going down this loop. Is it ever good enough? And the truth is, it's just never really going to be good enough. And that's just like the sad reality that your mind can go into this continual loop. Of course, we eventually stop and pick what we think is our best decision, even though we could have probably just stopped at the first response. And it also just creates a lot of self-doubt because you always want to be perfect. And then another thing about perfectionism is that we look at our mistakes and stuff like that more than we do about our accomplishments and what we did good at, because we always consider mistakes like a bigger thing than what we do good at. So it's just this endless cycle of, we made a mistake, oh my goodness, this is so bad. And instead of looking at, we did 70% correct, but we only made 30% wrong, we consider that 30% like 10 times greater than that 70% that we made right, because we don't want to make mistakes as perfectionists. And it's just really hard to look back and say, yeah, my accomplishments are this, this, and this, but my mistakes are this ever ending list. We always look back at our mistakes a lot more than our accomplishments. Like, for example, in grades and like grading and stuff, let's say I made an A in this class, but I made a F on this test. Like, I should probably say like what letters mean. Anyways, A is 90 or above, F is, I think, 60 or below. No, it's more like 50 or below. Anyways, like, perfectionism will look at that F and see it greater than I got an A in that class. So that's kind of the toll of it. And an example in YouTube is, I made this perfect cinematic video. It's really good. Everyone loves it. It's a 1 out of 10 video. If you don't know what that means, it's just basically the best video that you have on YouTube that month. I think it's that month. Or is it like in general? I don't know. Something like that. It's just your best video that you posted all year. But maybe there's this little mistake. Like, you used the wrong transition and you should have used a different transition. You'll always look at that mistake, like that little small transition mistake, bigger than the video's a 1 out of 10 video. Like, that's how perfectionist minds work. Of course, I've reflected on how mistakes can hold you back, but knowing the difference between growing as a content creator, learning from your mistakes, and obsessing over it, it's also really important. Obsessing over your content is making sure, basically what I've been saying is perfecting your content to the max. And growing is just learning about those simple mistakes that you made and changing in the next time so you learn from your past mistakes. So yeah, growing versus obsessing is really huge in perfectionism. So basically, growing and obsessing are two major different things that you should know. And then moving on, as a perfectionist, you should learn to embrace imperfection, because perfection just brings you down overall. It never really helps you in the end. Yes, it could help you with like the small little details that are important, but at the same time, it really more so brings you down than it lifts you up as a perfectionist. So, like, for example, to post or DM that first message that comes to mind, maybe like perfecting that one small like little detail, like you accidentally misspelled a word, obviously, or maybe saying hello and well, no, that's perfectionism. Oh my goodness, I'm thinking about perfectionism in a podcast. I'm trolling. Hello? But basically, just posting that first message that comes to mind instead of going down that continuous loop / rabbit hole that you did go down earlier. Because overall, the person that you're probably responding to, A, doesn't care, and B, the first message probably doesn't matter to them that you overthink it. Overall, it just wastes time between the person that you respond to, because it takes time away from it because you're spending time just overthinking of the perfect response. Like, I could think of many different times that I spent over 10 minutes on a simple "how are you doing" question. Like, like, that's kind of crazy. As perfectionists, you could go down rabbit hole for the simple "how are you doing" question. And then also, speaking about embracing imperfection, is taking breaks, because perfectionists tend to go over the top and do stuff that is unhealthy, like editing for like 8 hours straight or doing a 12-hour stream. Cough, cough, that was me. So, taking a break, letting go of crazy ideas that you want to do, that your perfectionist mind says, yeah, that sounds so much fun. You're going to get so much viewers. And overall, my average viewers was like 2. So, 12-hour stream, maybe later when I get like partner or something on Twitch, because overall, it doesn't benefit me in the end. And it's just a big waste of time when I could have been doing something else that was 10 times more important than doing a 12-hour live stream. And then I said earlier, but taking a break, because a lot of perfectionists don't know how to take breaks. I know how to take breaks. I do that a lot. And learning how to like chillax. I always think of when I'm chillaxing, thinking of Forrest Frank's song Selah, which means to take a pause. So learn to say law, yes. Learn to take a break in content creation, or if you're just a perfectionist in general, learn to take a break from being the definition of perfect, because in the end, you're never going to be perfect, and it's always good to take a break, especially for like physical and mental health, because it's always really important to take care of your body as well. And then a hard one, especially for all my perfectionists out there, is being proud even when you're imperfect. Especially if you're like a content creator and you post this video and you could think of like 10 different issues that you could change about it. Be proud of your work. Don't focus on like the little issues. Be proud of what you can accomplish. Because in the end, those 10 issues probably don't matter to your audience unless it's like a big issue. Those 10 little issues probably don't even matter to your audience. So just being proud when you're imperfect is a huge thing, especially since that's something I struggle with as a perfectionist. Being proud when you're imperfect, because like I said earlier, you make 10 mistakes, you think about those mistakes more than you think about the actual video in whole. I'm going to say this again for me rewatching this, me re-listening to this, and for all my perfectionists out there. Be proud even when you're imperfect. Put that on a wall, put that on your sticky note, because that is probably the most essential thing that you're going to get out of this podcast. I know I already talked about taking breaks and how important they are on your health, but I'm kind of going to go back to that because I just recently went on a cruise, and that's basically taking a break. It's so much better when when your mind is not like busied on like 10 different things and you're just chillaxing, or basically just say lawing. Is that a word? I don't know. Just say law. Yeah. Everyone say law. When you're taking a vacation and you don't have anything important that you need to do on that trip, say law. Absolutely. Take a break. Take a pause. Because overall, a vacation is not going to feel like a vacation if you're not chillaxing on it. Especially on like my cruise, I probably spent a lot of my time not thinking about time, not thinking about, yeah, I have this video that I need to edit, not thinking about, sorry, my live stream chat, but not thinking about, I have a live stream this weekend that I need to do. I need to meet my minimum 2 live streams per week goal. Like when I'm on that cruise and whenever I take a cruise vacation, I am absolutely in say law mode, because taking a break is absolutely important, especially for all my perfectionists out there. Like, I can't describe it when you're not overthinking about something or you're not focused on something else and you're just chillaxing on like lounge chair facing the ocean with the Starbucks cup in your hand. Sorry, I love Starbucks way too much. But I can't describe that feeling for you, please. I'm not saying go on a cruise, but overall, take a break, especially when you need one, or when you went on this huge rant or huge perfectionist streak or burnout phase or whatever. Because chillaxing or say lying can really benefit you in the long run. Even if it's just for a week, that could really give you the motivation to go back into a mindset and to go back and not burn out as easily. But yeah, definitely take a break when you need to. And then another perfectionist kind of tendency is that you're the only one going through this. I think most people kind of think about that they're the only one going through that they're the only perfectionist in the room, which is kind of true when people don't say, yeah, I overthink a lot. Yeah, I have the fear of failure. Yeah, I'm a perfectionist. People usually don't say that out loud. You would have to be really close friends to know that, because not a lot of people know. Like, the first thing people know about me, especially if you're not really a close friend, the first thing that comes to mind is not she's a perfectionist. Most people think, yeah, she's a kind, loving, intelligent person. And that's what I like about it, because perfectionism is an issue, and that's, you usually don't want to tell people your issues. I think that's kind of going out there in general. Oh my goodness, it kind of went down this little rabbit hole rant that I'm probably going to cut out because I don't want people knowing that about me. The little side comments that get you down this whole side rant that people, that you don't want people to know of, is crazy. Anyways, that part got cut out. Anyways, that probably wasted like 5 minutes of the podcast. Oops. But kind of just wrapping up perfectionism, because I got through all my main points and I'm kind of just yapping about side topics that I already cut out anyways, is that you should always accept imperfectionism and be proud of your work, because it's just something that you can never perfect. You could never perfect being perfect. That's the truth, because you absolutely cannot. Like, as humans, we're made to make mistakes and learn from them, because without mistakes, you wouldn't learn anything. And then letting go of your mistakes and overcoming them, as well as overcoming perfectionism, it could really lead to more creativity, happiness, because you're not draining yourself, you're not going down this deep rabbit hole, you're not spending hours on end perfecting something. And then also a little note that I wrote down: even if you feel not enough, you're still moving, growing, and creating, because life is always changing. You're never going to perfect it. So why feel not enough when you're always going to be different and you're always going to creatively move on? You're going to move on somehow. Like, time never stops. You should always take value of the little time that you have here on this earth, because it's gonna fly by, and the second you realize it and you're perfecting all of it, you're gonna realize you missed out on a lot of opportunities if you just pick that first option and you're not spending over the top time perfecting something. But anyways, I hope you guys had a fun time listening to my little rant about perfectionism and how it affects me. And thank you guys for tuning in for episode 2 of, I was about to say test run. This is not Parrot X2's podcast. I've been listening to that way too much. Thank you guys for listening in on episode 2 of Whispers of the Sea. I hope to catch you guys in the next episode. Bye bye!